So I'm sure you're familiar with the story of the resurrection of Lazarus in John 11. But as I was reading it this morning, a verse jumped out at me that I don't think I've ever noticed before. And I found it so encouraging in light of the growing hostility towards Christianity and the courage that it takes to live out our faith when following Jesus might actually cost us something. So, to set the scene, it starts with the detail in the previous chapter where Jesus is in the temple in Jerusalem and he makes the scandalous claim that I and the Father are one. And then in response, the Jews picked up stones again to stone him. The Jewish religious leaders understood that Jesus was claiming to be divine, and they wanted to kill him for it. But he escaped, right? He left Judea and went across the Jordan. And that's where he was when, in John 11, we find the story of Lazarus. When Jesus learns that Lazarus was ill, he waits 2 days, and then he tells his disciples, hey, let's go back to Judea again. And his disciples are stunned. They say, Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and are you going to go there again? They're asking why he would walk straight back into that kind of danger. But Jesus shows no fear. He tells them his mission isn't over yet, and he's going to visit Lazarus, and it's for their sake, so that they may believe. And then comes the verse that really struck me, verse 16. So Thomas, called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us go also, that we may die with him. This is the guy we know as Doubting Thomas. And here he's doubting that Jesus will survive his next visit to Judea. And yet, he's so committed that he's not only willing to take what he fears could be their last journey with Jesus, but he encourages the other disciples to come along as well. Let's all go and lay down our lives for Jesus. And here's the thing. The Apostle John thought that detail was worth preserving for us. Why? Because Thomas shows us a model of discipleship that's often missing in the modern church. He understood that following Jesus isn't always safe. Sometimes it's risky. Sometimes it costs everything, as we've seen recently in the news. There are still Christians today around the world who face imprisonment and persecution and even martyrdom for the sake of Christ. Here in the West, it's easy to take our religious freedom for granted, but Thomas calls us to a courageous faith, a faith that says, wherever Jesus leads, I'll follow, even if it costs me everything. Because in the end, Christ is worth more than this world, and he's the one who has already laid down his life for us.